Do you want to learn how to make dramatic reflection photos of flowers like this? I'm Rob Miracle with Yo Photo Dude. In this video, you will learn how. Let's get started. Several years ago, I saw a video where a photographer took amazing flower photos in a reflection pool. His technique was pretty straightforward, but it was a lot of work. He used a small kiddie pool on an outdoor table filled with water. He then used a black cloth backdrop sunk in the pool where he floated the flowers, and with off-camera lighting he could make the colors pop. The results were amazing, but this technique was a lot of work to set up and break down. It was messy and wasteful, depending on your pool or tub size. Some flowers floated well, others would become waterlogged and start sinking. Some flowers would just drop to the bottom. It's not a project that you can just decide to do on a whim. It requires quite a bit of setup and planning. I thought there had to be a better way. Fast forward a couple of years ago. A friend of mine needed some product photography done. I picked up some cheap fake surfaces to shoot the products against to match her style. Frankly, those surfaces were garbage. They curled badly, and in some macro close-ups you could actually see the halftone dots used to print the pattern. I found a company called Replica Surfaces. I'll drop the link in the description below. They make firm flat surfaces that are 24 inches square. And using L brackets, you can use two of them to create a surface and a background. For instance, you could have a marble countertop with shiplap in the background. These surfaces are quite good and don't show any printing artifacts. While marble and shiplap are not useful for this project, they do have surfaces that are useful. They have a reflective black surface, which can be paired with one of their darker surfaces like fog or slate. You have a nice combination to do reflection shots. Their surfaces are not cheap, but they are really well done and durable. They are easy to set up and break down. You don't need a lot of space to set these up, and there's no mess. Because they don't have a pure black surface, depending on your lighting, you may need to clean up any lightness in the background in post-production. The black reflective surface shows dirt and dust quite easily. Make sure you clean it before use, or you'll be doing spot removal. Next, you'll need some type of off-camera lighting. There are three choices for this. You could use studio strobes. They can be quite bulky and can be overpowered, but it's the best quality light. Similar to studio lights, many camera flashes or speed lights can be used off-camera with a trigger. These are much smaller to work with. Strobes provide a constant color temperature and can be positioned and modified in various ways to give you the look that you want. Speed lights, which are smaller, work better in tight spaces. The third option is to use continuous light, like an LED video light. While these are typically not as powerful as strobes, they benefit you by letting you see your lighting before you take the photo. This can save time. Strobes can let you shoot at the lowest ISO setting your camera can do with apertures like f8 to f11. Strobes will have a shutter speed limit of in the 1/200th of a second range. With LED lights, you can pretty much use any shutter speed, though because they're not that bright, you'll probably need to stay in the 1/30th to 1/60th of a second range. LED panels come in a couple of different varieties. Daylight only, which can have a color temperature of around 5600 Kelvin. You can also get dual color panels that let you dial in a range of color temperatures from tungsten to daylight, allowing you to match your ambient light. Our goal is to minimize that ambient light, but in case you can't, being able to match the ambient light is a good feature. Your camera will support many different color temperature options. If you know your light's color temperature, you can put your camera white balance in Kelvin mode and dial in the exact temperature to match your lights. You'll need a light stand to mount your light on. Now that you have the gear in hand, grab your arrangement, be it a single flower or a bouquet, and position it on the surface. Let's use this group of artificial daisies for this demo. For the photography, I'll be using a full-frame mirrorless camera with a 105mm f2.8 macro lens. Mirrorless is great because you can see the image before you take it, allowing you to visualize your exposure and lighting ahead of time. Sometimes for product photography, in particular with narrow sets, 105mm may be too long. 50 to 85mm can be a more useful range. Since the set isn't very wide, wide-angle lenses will not be your friend in this situation. A short telephoto lens will limit the amount of background present in the photo. You should be able to see the reflection with your eyes. You'll notice that the higher you are, the less reflection you'll see. As you lower your point of view, you'll see more reflection. If you go too low, the reflection will start to distort. Find that point where the reflection is best. This is a good time to mention that a good tripod will let you get the camera positioned in an optimal location, and then you can manipulate the lighting to find the perfect look. Once you have everything set up, photograph away. Try different exposures and lighting positions until you get the reflection that you want. If your exposure is what you want and you have the color temperature right, you shouldn't need to do too much in post-processing other than cropping to taste. If your background caught too much light, you can add vignetting or bring the black point or shadows down to darken it up a bit. Just be careful. The more you mess with the shadows and black points, it can reduce the visible reflection. Let's look at our results. You can see that with a little bit of effort, you can produce amazing photos. Of course, you can use this technique for more than just flowers. Use your imagination and have fun, and enjoy your photography. Until next time, this is Rob Miracle for Yo Photo Dude.